everybody. How are you guys?
We're good.
Great.
Hey.
Afternoon.
Good.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being a part. This is super special and very important to me because this is the biggest group I've had thus far. So this should be really cool. Hopefully we all can get to hear each other out, see where everyone stands, and kind of let's just get to it. So I'll introduce myself first, and then I would just like you guys to introduce yourself and say your field and where we know each other. I'm Ashley. I was a VIP touring coordinator for over 8 or 9 years. And then I did hospitality coordinator stuff for some artists pretty consistent over the years. Done a tour management gig under my belt, and then just some consulting work over the years as an artist.
I'm Tom. I've been a backline tech for 30 plus years. I've done 9 Inch Nails, Kanye, and Whitesnake. And I met Ashley and Kanye.
James Hardy. I do audio. I know a few people in here. It's good to meet the rest of you guys. I guess Mary is who I do. Mary, audio guys, we jumped around on everybody. Mary, Neo, I guess, are the 2 people I'm most known for. I met Ashley on email a few days ago.
Nice to meet you in person.
And I'm actually in Georgia. Well, I would say Atlanta, but I'm a good 45 minutes from downtown, so I'm in Georgia, in the country.
Hey, I'm Shelby. I've worked for the Black Keys, Grizzly Bear, a lot of poppy rock kind of stuff. I've done everything from merch to personal assistant and assistant tour manager. I met Ashley doing a random ass pop-up gig for Dead Mouse.
Yeah, like a couple of months ago. So thank you for being here. Actually, in another episode, Dead Mouse's security guard was in it.
Oh, man.
Small world.
Brandon Blackwell, sound engineer, just finished touring with Lizzo. Been doing it for 7 years now. I met Ashley through, I want to say, charity.
Right.
We've known each other online for the longest, but we finally met a couple years ago at a show. We were loading in, and you guys were with Kanye the next day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
At the Garden.
And you saw the stress. Yep, Madison Square Garden.
At the Garden. Yeah.
Saw the stress on my face. So, but yeah, glad to be here.
And we're also Full Sail alumni.
Oh, we are. Yeah, I always forget that.
Next.
Chauncey Burney. I'm an audio engineer. Monitors, front of house. I do playback as well. Some production management. I think I'm pretty much known for really like Tinashe and Kelly Rowland.
Okay.
But I've done several artists. I never officially met you, Ashley, but I do know Charity.
Oh, right on.
I toured with her with K9.
Oh, okay.
Some years
Right
back. Yeah.
She's got some incredibly beautiful photos she took from that tour.
I know Cheney, KB, and James. Haven't met the rest of you, you guys.
Caleb James, another audio guy. I met you.
And then I started doing the meet and greet.
Hi.
Right. Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
Name's Kevin Brown. I'm gonna call myself a audio stylist, since there's a bunch of other engineers in here. Met Ashley on Chris Brown a couple years ago. I've done Chris Brown, Nicki, Childish Gambino. Like James said, we all just kind of hop around from each other, so we'll probably name the same gigs.
My name is Cheney Harp. I think I know everybody in here. Well, almost everybody in here. I don't know the women. I'm kind of saddened by that because I don't really care about any of the guys in this chat. But I've been with James all the way back to the Neo days, and then KB and I did Chris Brown together. Chauncey, I've known you off and on forever. Mm-hmm. Caleb is on the Her gig with me now, right? And mostly monitors is my forte. I'm an audio engineer. Do some production if I can get a artist to give me that responsibility, but most of the time I'm in the audio world, and I'm in the hot seat, monitor.
Right on.
My name's Jeremy. I actually started out DJing. I toured with Mind's Behavior, and I first met Cheney filling in for DJ Rayvon with Austin Mahone. Chauncey was surprised we never crossed paths because I used to DJ for Tinashe. After that, I transitioned into the audio thing. I currently do monitors, front house, I do playback, tech, do a little bit of RF stuff. As far as this chat is concerned, tech for KB and Cheney. James, I met you. We did Flognaw with her. Caleb, that's my guy. Brandon, I met you on the Lizzo tour with Ari, and I also do front of house for Ari now. So, and I'm based in LA. And Ashley, I met you on Chris Brown.
I'm LaShawn. I am a bus driver for Hempel Brothers. I met Charity. Actually, I met Ashley and Charity on Janet Jackson about 3 or 4 years ago. That's where I met her. And of course, we just haul whoever. So like a glorified Uber.
My name is Jair Cruz, audio engineer as well. First met Ashley. We did Dominic Fike Rain or Shine tour. And then went on after that, currently doing Brockhampton. So kind of met a couple of you guys, whether it was festivals or tours or just came to listen to a show, but great to be here.
Right on. All right, so let's just dive right into it. First and foremost, I want to ask, quite honestly, how is everybody doing mentally and spiritually?
I'm here.
Good.
I'm staying positive.
Doing great.
Staying positive.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I'm actually enjoying it. The time off. We never get time off like this ever. I mean,
it's rare.
I hate money, but like, you know, you can build relationships with your significant others that we would have never gotten if we were on the road right now. So I'm enjoying it.
That is very true. I mean, yeah, one of the questions I've been asking is, when's the last time you were really home in April? So it's an interesting transition period in, being home in general and being home in a time frame where you're usually traveling or definitely in the midst of starting to go, that kind of thing. I think I'm kind of more curious, is everybody keeping up on their skills? Is everyone learning new things in this time? This is a time period, as you were saying, Brandon, we're home. And not only are we home, we're home with enough time to really kind of plant something or learn a recipe or really finish a book. So I'm just curious, what are you guys doing to keep yourselves, so positive, in this time?
I kind of fell back to my first love in the music. I started off as producing, so I've been getting back into that, been making a lot of music. That's been pretty cool, keeping me busy.
Yeah. And especially now that like Bandcamp and all these other places are letting you like release your album and get 100% of the sales, and everyone's trying to give this kind of leeway to it all. That's really dope.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of playing as well. I do because I got all that stuff behind me, and my living room is a studio. Whenever I'm not on tour, I'm just here noodling, and I'm always doing something musically, or I've actually fixed a bunch of my own guitars on this time down too as well.
Yeah, the one thing I was kind of curious about, I was excited, LaShawn, because you were here, is I wanted to know how was this for you on a just a driver point, because I would imagine there's other maybe services or I don't know, but I was kind of curious, like how is that going for the driver?
We were at this. We checked into the hotel that the Utah Jazz had.
Oh, really?
So before this whole thing went down, there's a real germophobic. So when we found out that the team was staying at our hotel and they've been in the elevators, she immediately just said, "We're canceling the tour."
Wow.
So we all came home about a week and a half before anything ever got shut down. But it's hard because you think, well, if they open up the theaters and they open up small gigs, everybody else is still working. They can do fly dates, really. They don't need buses per se. You kind of wonder where you fit in, because you just, they don't, what are you going to do? People won't have budgets. Will people be able to afford to go see things? And if they do, how much are they going to take with them? Is it going to be more maybe just concerts where they're just setting up and just doing a live feed and paying like a pay-per-view thing,
Right. Yeah, well, because quite frankly, you all have a real remote job situation, kind of in comparison to me and Shelby, and kind of in comparison to LaShawn as well. Like you guys have a bit more. You could do it at home to help someone. You know what I mean? How is that for you all, or how do you feel about that? And I feel like maybe because Cheney does monitors, I think that's different to me. I feel like you and Brandon are like, it's just like more physical, but I don't know. I'm just kind of curious.
For me, I really haven't done any audio stuff. Well, I've been doing a lot more video. It's something that I've always dabbled in. So I figured I'd take the time off just to like hone in on some skills between YouTube and everyone's doing webinars at this point, whether it be for video or for audio. Smart's been having courses online. Digico's been having a bunch of classes. Premiere has had some stuff. So, I've just been really taking the time to do stuff I wouldn't have the time to do. Like Brandon said, or even you said, like, when are we home in April? You're never home in April. We're pretty much not home until, October, the end of the year. And by that time, you're getting ready for the holidays with family. So we don't really have time to sit and develop skill sets. We develop them while we're out. But to be able to cultivate it at home, it's really peaceful.
Yeah, I've been just staying productive, getting more focused on my studio stuff as opposed to the live stuff, doing the webinars, reading books. Gym is closed, trying to stay fit as much as I can, active as much as I can, and just try to do something. I'm getting to the point now where I force myself to go outside. Like, I've been riding my bike a lot lately, my bicycle. I'm not like Caleb and KB with the motorcycle, but I've been forcing myself to get up and go outside because, like, I've really had some days where I will wake up and me and that couch have been best friends all day. So, like, I need to get some sunlight today. Let me do something.
So I know for me, just sleep schedule wise, it has been, I had to give in for about a week and a half. Like, I really had to just like sleep and then kind of really recollect myself, especially because when this happened, I had just come back from Full Sail from like the Hall of Fame. So kind of internally while I was there, it was like the news, like Coachella had postponed.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, by Friday, it's like, if you're overseas, get back here by Friday. And I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? So I think my way into it, I took a lot of time to really actually quarantine. Thankfully, I have some space outside to get some air. I've been trying to do videos on YouTube and create content, edit, just to keep myself, afloat in a space where I can't go to a recording studio and do a lot of work like I would normally do while I was home, or not have school either. So this is a beautiful time that my mind is free, but it's a worrisome time because I don't know what's the best thing to fill it with. So Shelby, I'm kind of curious because we talked about this recently. You were telling me, you were setting up your binders and production stuff just to be ahead of the game when we go back, man. And I'm there with you now, like in the instance of just trying to get some.
Hey man, at least you're being productive. I felt productive, and then a binder only takes so long when you don't have any more information coming in because all the production managers have stopped. So everything's on hold, and it's just trying to stay positive. And even though like it's a time of reflection and meditation or whatever you're going for to stay mentally healthy and aware, it's like make sure you don't push it too far and end up in a negative space and being down on yourself. So it's just taking it day by day.
Yeah. Are you networking? And the reason I ask is because this is probably one of the only times that a higher up position person than you, or a person you want to network with, is sitting online just like you are. You know what I mean? And just an availability of being able to ask a question, tag somebody, really, no pun intended, but like sliding a DM to ask a question. Now we're in a space that we're really getting answers. I did an album review on a rapper a couple of days ago, and I tagged him, and 10 minutes later, he actually saw it. If we were back in the world that we actually were in, that would have never happened.
Right.
Anyway, like that. So I'm just curious, are you all networking in this time? Because I feel like we all have to figure this out. Eventually, we're going to have to figure this out together, whether that's, tour by tour or whatever. But I just am curious, are you networking?
I'm in Miami, and I left a rehearsal, a 2-month rehearsal in New Jersey, to rush over to Las Vegas to support my better half, who was in production of a brand new Vegas show. So that show shut down 3 days after I got there. So we had this big task of taking production that hadn't opened yet, getting everything stored, and then all the locals and all the people that didn't live in Las Vegas back home safe And then I spent the last 2 weeks just going through insurance claims and these kinds of things, listening to my better half talk to her company managers, her general managers, trying to figure out what to do with their show. So I've been forced to kind of keep a different kind of ear towards how this is happening and how it's moving. So some of the participants with this production are from Vegas and from Los Angeles. And so they're all putting in all this information, and every day that goalpost is just being moved on them as to what do we do next. They have like a mayor in Las Vegas that wants the city to start up right away, and then a bunch of other people that wants everybody to continue to shelter in place and things like that. So I've been forced, not that I want to be this informed, and forced just day to day with different groups of our industry having these discussions. And I clearly came to the conclusion that it's too early for anybody to tell or make any predictions or anything, and everybody should just wait till this wave goes through their city or their state or what have you. But there are really people trying to figure out how to manage a 200 seat venue or a 5,000 seat venue when we open back up, to still keep safe distance, and will GA performances ever work again? How do you put 10 people on a bus anymore? And all of those things, like they're already having these conversations, and I've been privileged to these conversations. Not that I really want to be a part of those conversations, it's just that I've just been paying attention to all these big industry people. The last conversation we were in, we had a group of people from the UK talking about it with the Broadway people and everything else. And for me, I'm like, my industry is dead. I can't even see when arena-sized touring is gonna happen anytime soon. So for me, there's a good chance for me to like rebrand, a good chance for me to listen, see what other people are doing in my industry. And you mentioned networking. So I'm reaching out to the manufacturers that usually support me with products. They're usually putting on webcasts. So they're inviting me if I want to be a part of their webcasts and things like that. Those are the only things that I think is really relevant today. I mean, you know, it could all change in a week or two when these cities decide to open. But for me and for what we do, we love our job. Like we all miss being, you know, our own personal gatherings because, you know, that's our real family. These are people that we know, we trust, we work with hand in hand. So we miss all that. But at the same time, I think, what's the kid in Atlanta? Sansbury, he posted a question on Facebook the other day. He said, if somebody gave you $10,000 to mix a gig tomorrow, would you go? And my feeling was, if I was in dire strait and needed the money, I would hope that I would still turn it down because I wouldn't want to be a part of a system that would put people at risk because they were in dire straits for financial reasons.
I commented on it because I assumed he was coming from the space of, speaking of Georgia, because right before that, it had come out that Georgia was going to let you guys have at it. As I have, you know, some people from Georgia, you know, in this conversation, not to mention having someone that's in Washington State and in New York State, you know, and just the way that it's been going, you know, for you all with the news and just the evolution of just the conversation and the hotspot, you know, talks and all of that. I mean, that's another reason I wanted to have a conversation. All of our starting of quarantine and social distancing has started at really different points for each other. You know what I mean? I think if you looked at it, it's like we're at different stages in this. You know, some people are isolated and not doing well. Some are past it now. What, Tom?
Is anybody in New York? You're in New York. Are you in New York City or New York State?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh.
My ex is a front of house engineer, and he's out over at like the FEMA camps doing inventory on all the bodies that are overflow from the morgue.
Wow.
Crazy job change.
Now, with you saying that, a wonderful friend of mine who's a tour manager and has been touring with a structure, wonderful guy named Dex, has been bringing this up. He's been in a couple other of these interviews, and he brought this up, and he stresses this, interestingly enough, that one thing that our positions and things can apply to is disaster relief services. If you think of it in the instance that, this is how you put it, we drop in a city, We bring light, we bring power, we build a stage, you know, we rig it, mud.
Kudos to upstaging all the way.
You know, we would build a whole thing and bring it to the middle of nowhere or in the middle of everything at one time, you know. And his argument is always to me, like, if you got your 50 best people and there was an emergency, I bet you it would get resolved, because universally we are a service field that's based around having really good problem solving skills in your department, and you're engaging with each other, and you know, everything.
Mountain Stage Productions has put out blueprints for field hospitals, and so has CSS, Complete Staging, and they're ready to do that, to deploy stages as field hospitals and stuff like that. They're just waiting for FEMA to call them.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago that they announced that.
Well, I hope it doesn't get to that. I mean, you're in Brooklyn, so I hope you're the example of the worst of it. You know, not to take anything away from everything you guys have been through out there and all the heroes you have out there that's working diligently, but since you are a dense city, I was hoping that as it's moved across the country, then what we would see would not equate to the severity it's been in New York. So
On a positive note, some of the hospitals in New York have slowed down so much that they're actually laying off people. So fingers crossed that the people that are let go from those hospitals move to more congested areas and help us get through this sooner. Yeah.
So another thing I kind of wanted to touch on, that's a big part of what we do in general. And if at any point you all have questions for the group, please insert them. Traveling. It is one of the deepest parts of what we do. You feel when we get square with all of this about, let's start with flying domestically and internationally. Do you feel comfortable?
Well,
I'll go as someone who just flew yesterday. It is sorry, there's an ambulance going by, but I was a little worried, you know. Thank God I got upgraded to business, but then there's a seat next to me, and I'm like, I pray to God no one sits next to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be a weird reaction. You know, this person coughs or I cough. I don't know if it goes. I mean, it was lovely. Like take our typical travel day. Like let's say we're doing a multi-flight day. It was amazing. I got through security in 5 minutes. Got on the plane. Didn't have to rush. Like that part of it was amazing. But being in a plane for 4 hours, concern what the flight attendant who's handing me a cup. Did they just sneeze and hand me a cup by mistake? A little worrisome, but I think we're going to have to, when it gets back to normal, we're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
She is a flight attendant, and she still technically has to fly right now, but she's been calling out every day.
Okay.
They didn't give them gloves.
Wow.
Or a mask. So it's pretty deep. But she goes on leave May 1st, so that's cool.
Question for Brandon. So, as I know you just traveled yesterday, did it feel empty, or was it still a great amount of travelers still out there?
No, it was a ghost town. I mean, like,
Gotcha.
Newark was, it was one line open. I'm sorry, one concourse open and just one line. I mean, I said at the gate there was the inbound plane, 8 people came off. Like I was curious. So like I really paid attention. It was 8 people that got off. Most of them were flight attendants. And then my flight to Chicago, there was 22 people with 9 flight attendants. And then I had to sit in Chicago for 4 hours because, there's no direct flights to major cities anymore like that. And literally I barely saw maybe 10 people in all of Chicago. I was like, when we transfer through airports, it's like, you see millions of people, like and it's no one's there. None of the stores are open. Like Starbucks was open. All the major stores were open, but like none of the shops, none of the kiosks. You can't buy a charger. You can't buy anything. You know, you better hope you brought everything. And,
yeah, I flew a couple of weeks ago, and I honestly felt safer flying than I do going to the market.
Yeah, because it's less crowded.
Yeah, it was.
Well, yeah,
I flew to LA, and there were 17 people on the plane.
Yeah, and I
Like
flew.
Delta. So I got upgraded. There's nobody in first class. There were 3 people in first class. Delta flight attendants at this point. Delta is giving you like prepackaged meals. So there was a plastic bag that had water in it, 2 Perel wipes, and like some crackers. So they give you that. Then for the meal, they came around with this box. It had like hummus in it, some like packaged fruit, cracker, some cheese, and also another Perel wipe. So, you know, once you got on the plane, they also gave people Perel wipes. So people getting on, you wiping your areas down, wiping your chair down, and there's nobody sitting next to you. I almost got in a fight in Walmart 2 weeks ago. Somebody was breathing on my neck. Like,
wow.
I legit felt safer on that airplane.
I was in the post office yesterday, and it was just me and one lady in line, and she didn't respect social distancing at all. Like, there's an end of the bench. I'm at one end filling out my envelope, all this space, and she comes right next to me, like, you know, lady, social distancing.
Maybe she thought she was cute. Gonna hop down.
That's the day while we still have a lot of shelter in place regulations from state to state. But what Ashley was asking, by the time we get to a point to where they're allowing mass gatherings, which is what we do, then those airlines, those airports are probably going to just start, you know, getting back to some level of what it used to be. So what do we do when, you know, like right now airlines are claiming, well, we're not selling any middle seats, you can come fly with us. Well, they're just begging for anybody to just buy a ticket because nobody's on the plane. But you know, airlines, when they start getting people buying planes, they're going to push them all on there. So, you know, by the time we get to where we're doing shows, that means mass gatherings are allowed. We're going to be on those planes, you know. But I'm curious, as far as the buses goes, as far as like they're going to retrain like drivers, like do you guys have to do something different now, or do you anticipate you be like taking somebody's temperature before they get on your bus?
Now let me also say before you talk, LaShawn, also LaShawn is one of my favorite drivers, not just because it's my homegirl. She's one of the cleanest ones, man. And I'm saying
that means I will love you forever.
and I'm saying that also because, you know, a lot of us have had a myriad of experiences with drivers, and
and that's why I'm asking.
And to add on to Cheney's question, how do you feel about coming back really and driving? I mean, I understand it is your occupation, but you know, you could be just as worried about us on your bus as much as we can be worried about each other. So
yeah, well, it's obviously going to be a whole learning situation for everybody, but you know, I'm a extremely clean person. My bus is spotless. I wipe that thing down with Lysol every day, and yeah, I like a clean bus, and I'm just a germaphobe, but I'm, you know, cleansing. And so I just have a feeling that it's probably going to be where we're really deep cleaning those bunks every day, you know, wiping the walls down, wiping the handles, and, you know, the keypads and just whatever. You know, it depends on how many people are going to put on your bus, but still you're all sitting in the front lounge, you're sitting in the back, you're using the bathroom. I mean, how much distancing can you really do?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, this is a super tricky one. I mean, even if you determine somebody on your bus is sick and you remove them, I mean, there's a 14-day incubation period. That means everybody on the bus has probably got it. So, I mean, I can't even see that being managed today without a vaccine or something.
Well, we did. Okay, so last year I was out for 5 months, and we had a virus going around that tour constantly. Somebody would get better. And it wasn't the coronavirus, but it was just a virus. And so you go to spring, and somebody would pick up the metal, you know, to go in catering to get something out of the thing, and then they'd carry it to the bus, and then that whole bus would be sick. When that bus got finished, the next bus would have it. And so this thing ran around for 5 months straight. And, that's what I started thinking. I mean, how do you stop it if some people just don't care? They're going to do what they want to do. They're not going to wear a mask or wash their hands, whatever, they just don't care. And so it's going to be hard to wrangle everybody onto the same page. Even now we're having a problem wrangling everybody on the same page because some people think this is a hoax. Some people think it's really important. Some people are self-isolating and some are out at the beach. So, it's just going to be a trial by error thing, really.
Yeah, I acknowledge doing hospitality, what's to come ahead for me, and the thought of, individually wrapped silverware, I would do it this way anyway, but just individually packaged boxes of food of after show for people, you know what I mean? Individual bags of chips, things that really can't be shared, you know what I mean? They've got little singles of things now. I mean, it might increase the plastic situation, but it would guarantee a sense of.
But what about meet and greets and things like that?
I had a conversation about that. This is something that I've said, and this is something that I've noticed. A good amount of the artists that I've worked for, about half of them will never do one, and the world knows it. And then the other half are willing to do it and are known for doing it. So there's a couple of artists I know that if you pay attention to what goes on in their life, just in the public spectrum of it, you just realize they're never going to give that to you. So let it go. This doesn't change that, right? But then there's other artists that I work for who are very passionate online about the virus, about how they feel about it, their isolation, whatever. And I just see a piece of my job disappearing and knowing you are never going to do meet and greets again after we just got you comfortable to do meet and greets. Top of the show. You know what I mean? Like, and especially for the artists who are so, I've worked for wonderful artists who are willing to do it and would prefer to do it. Not even just on a financial gain, but just in the instance of wanting to connect. And that plays different now. I mean, all jokes aside, it's kind of like Avril Lavigne and those awkward meet and greet photos might be what happens. And that's terrible. And if you haven't seen them, Avril Lavigne stands like feet away from the person in every photo. You know what I mean? Where there's other artists that like hug, and I don't know. I think about it often. I mean, and doing meet and greet, we're really good about always having hand sanitizer on tap, making, have the time they're turning to get it and do their thing and go to the next one kind of deal anyway. But I am curious about it. It's a to me, I realize it's just an additional asset of, revenue for the artist that is being taken away, whether by their choice or just by, happenstance. But I don't know.
Another thing, what about the showers, the crew showers at night?
I literally had another episode. I had this conversation. I was talking with the venue security director, and I said, he was talking about after show, we were going on, and I said, well, let's take it back in the venue really quick. What is the conversation I need to have now in regards to the showers? Because now this is a situation where my worry is your between loadout to bus call time where you get to hang out is going to greatly be shortened by not just groups of people going into the group showers and waiting, in the locker room part to each use the shower, but having cleaning staff on that long to come and take towels out and not have them on the floor, like even if for nothing else, with the optics of the next set of people that come in. That's what's also we're playing at. I don't know who's going to turn into a germaphobe that wasn't before, and I don't know who was kind of a germaphobe but really is now. I think about the shower thing a lot because there's no, if you broke it up, you're still waiting on the artist to leave. So a lot of times it's not like I could say like, oh, this department, when you're done and loaded out, use this bathroom. We're still at the same bottleneck, I feel. So I'm trying to brainstorm that out, LaShawn. I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, what's the thing I can say to tackle that when we come back?
I mean, it's just so many things. You think about everything you touch, the handsets, the radios, just everything.
Do you know this whole time and all this? I didn't even think about the
microphones when we do fly dates on festivals. Right. Do we have to bring to every artist or band member's mouth because we don't want to share? You know what I mean? All that stuff. It's going to be it has to be different.
What is that?
Current artist I work for has 16 different keys. I have over 300 harps on the road with me. I don't want to touch them, and I don't want to blow through them, but I have to clean them and sanitize them every day, and I'm extremely worried about it because he's from Seattle, and he was in a hot zone, and I was next to him, and then I came into another hot zone. So
right,
you know what I mean? And like, I've got a couple of these, but like, I don't have any wipes to clean my own personal one, and it's been kind of gamey the last like today because I didn't brush my teeth, and it's like. You know what I mean? So like, and I'm nervous because of touching the guitars, the sweat, you know, because I got sick way back when on the Antichrist tour with Marilyn Manson. I got, because that was in the days of the spit fucker routine, and everybody got spit on, and the stage was covered in spit, and my appendix got infected. And
oh,
Wow.
and it takes one or two types of
Shady's face.
you know, bacteria to get into your appendix to
Sorry.
make it go. They found over 10 different types of bacteria in my appendix. And we were wearing double layers of stage gloves, wrapping our pedal boards in saran wrap. You know, we were waterproofing speakers because there was just water and spit and blood and just, you know, and that's a scary situation to be in because I don't want to be back in that situation.
I just want to make it really clear, if you all haven't worked for that artist before, I have been on tour with him, and a lot of what he's saying is extremely true, and I have my own awful fluid-oriented stories, compliments to that artist as well. It is a very wild thing to try to tour around.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's how it gets down over there. It's bad. I mean, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you guys brought up. I wasn't even really thinking in the details, like the keypad or, you know, pencils and things like that. James?
I was just gonna say, I read an article maybe a week or two ago. It was basically from an insurance standpoint, which is addressing a lot of the stuff you guys said. And end of the day, what I got from the article was that I do audio. There's nothing I can do to think about or worry about it, especially because we all can agree it's going to be a while before we actually get back into the fire or into our gigs full time, because we're probably last on the totem pole of an essential business per se. So I from reading the article, I just said it's going to suck, but I'm just going to have to deal with it, because by the time we get to that point, I'm going to want to go to work regardless. Because it summarized, it was talking more about sets, because as some of you guys know, I do a lot more TV shows and specials. And so it was like, from a standpoint of, let's say you were shooting Seinfeld, if insurance companies won't insure something like COVID, so if Jerry got sick, the whole show would shut down. So the TV set alone has to take its own precautions. So it was like, it would say in the article, they're saying it could take up to a half an hour just to get on set every day. And then once you're on set, it'd be so many other things and this and that, and some jobs would be X'd out. So bottom line is, me as an engineer, bus driver, hospitality, whatever, it's like, whatever these rules are, fortunate enough, I don't have to figure them out and make them. And once they come, we'll just have to deal with them and act accordingly, because as we said at the beginning, what are we doing to like stay mentally together? We'll lose our mind trying to figure it out or how we're going to handle it, because we're not going to get a chance to implement whatever we think of right now in the coming weeks or months. So, you know, it's just one of those. Like I said, I'm glad I'm not the supervisor for the school county right now, because how do you figure out how a bunch of kids are going to graduate? You know, I'm like, you know, or how these governors are making decisions and all of that, or shoot, even the president. I mean, granted, he's a little more relaxed in his job, but, you know, just being in those type of positions right now, I'm glad I'm not in it. And I don't have to think about it, because it's really going to be a super staple in the future, 10, 20, 30 years from now, how this is handled and how we move forward. So
a really interesting thing I was informed of from my good friend Mike Fiello. He's a part of this initiative. I want to make sure to share this every episode. Apparently, some roadies got together and made a roadie clinic, like an advocacy clinic specifically for roadies in Niles, Michigan, which they're still in the grassroots part of it, but it'll have like mixing studios, kitchen, workstations, potentially lodging, therapists there for free, substance abuse counselors there for free, a whole set of access specifically for roadies and or their family. Like if you have an off day in Detroit, it's a place and a space to go. And I realized like that's something kind of in a way out of our field, but something to bring us back that can help when we get back. You know what I mean? Just in the essence of, I've never heard of a place for roadies to go besides a bar or a restaurant or their hotel room. You know what I mean? Let alone go somewhere to have a conversation with somebody, you know, let alone for free. And, you know, just in the healthcare situation, it's just hard sometimes to get a therapist or speak to, you know, a health professional and stuff like that. So I have to make sure to plug like the Rhodey Clinic at the Rhodey Clinic, because it's really, really cool. You should guys check it out, because I'm really impressed someone thought about it, because there's a lot of people that are very quiet on tour. You know what I mean? We all know the drill. You see someone on the phone, you see the look on their face, you take a step back, walk the other way. You know, it's not the time to talk. You know, we know the drill, like, nope, okay. You know, we all know how it goes. Aside of, you know, the health and that kind of stuff, I kind of, especially because I have some people here that are from some other cities. Now, just to kind of timestamp it for the people watching, now we're at a space where the Las Vegas mayor has said what she has said about her city and what she would like to happen there. You know, Georgia is in the process of opening up some things. Florida has opened up the beaches. Apparently it's a heat wave in Los Angeles today and the beaches are closed. Like, you know, how do you all feel about that? Especially because some of us are in those cities and some of us aren't. But I mean, I think I know so many more people who've been really good about social distancing than not, that I just can't figure it out, because I just feel like there's a greater percentage of people that are social distancing. So I guess really my question is how long have you actually been social distancing? Barring Brandon, who flew yesterday.
I was doing well too I was doing well up until that flight. It had been a month and a half where I didn't. I mean, just to the grocery store and back. But
Yeah.
even like this now, I feel like I immediately came in, took all my clothes off, put them in the wash, showered, you know.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I don't want to bring that to my fiance. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to. If I catch it, I mean, I'm the one who took the risk, right? But I don't want to give it to her or to anyone else. So it's like now I'm living by that 14 days. Like I'm not gonna go out anywhere for the next 14 days just to make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So.
I was gonna say, I live in Nashville, so Georgia's right down the road. My frustration is people that need their hair done, need a cut, and want whatever. You know, they're gonna go over there because it's open, and then come back and bring it back here and restart the whole process all over again.
Yeah.
I mean, so my thinking with that though is I would rather have a place that's like a dentist office or a hair salon. Not that I'm for states opening. I think we should at least take another 2 weeks. But the places that are opening should be taking precaution and doing something that gets sanitized after every customer and has a log of their clients by appointment only. Dentist office, hair salons, nail salons, all that is super limited, not a public space like a beach for mass gatherings. That's what's got me twisted. Like I just can't. Why would you do that first?
Did you see the picture where the beach in Florida, one half of it was full and the other one was right on the line and there was no one there? So, you know, so everybody's just piled in together. And you're right. It's like people don't care. They just want to do what they want to do. They feel entitled to do what they want to do now because they've been sitting in their house for 2 weeks.
I was gonna say, I think that this whole situation also, at least for me, it opens your eyes up more to pay attention to politics more, even from a small level. I know a lot of my friends. Another thing I'm big on now. Well, I've always been on the last 12 years is like the stock market, for example. I know from our profession, because we actually love what we do, we get too engulfed in it, so we don't pay enough attention to other things. You know, whether I mean, granted, you can play an instrument or everything, but everything's always right around our entertainment. Whereas I think this time has given us a opportunity and an eye opener to realize, okay, we should pay more attention to maybe some politics too, even if it's small from a mayor and district standpoint, because as you can see, granted, something like this may not happen again in our lifetime, but it's small things that happen that do indirectly or directly affect us that we're allowing people to be in control of. Like whether you're liberal, Republican, Democrat, the governor of Texas said there's more important things to life than living. And then, you know, the mayor of Las Vegas, she said, I want my city to be the Petri dish to try this out. I'm pretty sure even the people that voted for both of those people don't agree with either one of their views, but because they had the biggest wallet or because people didn't pay attention and they just like the appearance or what the person said instead of actually doing a check on them or following a little better, those people in power positions that are dictating all of our lives.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I agree with you for sure, because at the end of the day, this is starting to show people's true colors. And whether you're a citizen or whether you're a politician, it's like we're starting to see, do you really care about us? Like, do you care about me, or do you care about financially what you have to run? But it's just like, if you really care about the actual human race, you say, okay, cool, we kind of need to calm down. Let's keep everything closed. But now paying attention to politics is like, you really don't care about our health. You kind of just want to keep your business moving, So that's one of the things I'm definitely taking a very close look at.
Well, I think it's a fine line, right? And they'll say like the best choices you can make are the ones you make now, because it's all the information you have. And I'm not saying anyone's right for opening. I definitely don't think we should be open. But what you have to take into account is, if, let's just say we stayed locked down for another 3 months and all businesses shut down, nobody will have anything to go back to. And then we'll be in this state where we're kind of in a depression. And we saw what happened in the last depression. Like, it'll be bad for our economy. Like, do I think we should be opening? No, not necessarily, but I think we kind of got to find a way to like get resources to start flowing again. And I was talking to my brother who works in finance, because you start talking about bailouts with the airlines. I'm like, like, why are we bailing airlines out? And he said it's because those major businesses have to stay open, so that way when we get out, we have somewhere to go work, and the revolving door of money cycles through the community. Because if not, like, we're going to end up into this society where we have to start farming, and I'm pretty sure 90% of the country can't farm.
Growing asparagus right now. Cut some yesterday. But you're right. A good amount. I mean, you're right. I mean, in the sake of self-sufficiency, there's a lot more we could always be doing in that. I think I take away, I don't know the best way to put it. I think I take away from that specific train of thought is, this is also a time, quite frankly, where this is a time you really spend a whole lot of time with yourself. Honestly. I mean, even if you're with your partner, significant other, better half, however, this is also a space and time where even if you're in a bunk, in a bus full of people and you're in your own bunk or you're in your hotel room, you really still aren't kind of alone. And in this situation, this is a different kind of isolation within a kind of a different kind of thing. And I think a thing that's interesting is, for me, I never get to see any of you this relaxed. Ever. Once. This calm. And I appreciate it, and I have to acknowledge it, and I have to take heed of it, because in my mind, you all are the calmest when it's tense. If this is just as relaxed as you are at home, but to actually be able to get to know and get to see everybody from a different lens, I think is a beautiful thing that can come out of this. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who know each other just from one behavioral type or just one way of knowing them, and then every once in a while I'll be like, hey man, I'm just thinking of you. And it's just a different dialogue kind of in it. And I think for me, now that I look at shows, are one of the few things up until recent that like just never shuts down. You could have a hurricane or a tornado, give us like 40 minutes. Right. We're back. You know what I mean? So for me, I found it really jarring. Like, wow, there's really something that really, shut us all down, in the hopes that it's in a timely fashion so we can all come back and it's, a renewed situation all in all. I guess outside of the obvious answer of not getting down or not holding pessimism, what are you trying not to do in this time? I am trying not to eat potato chips.
Oh my God.
While I'm
that
home.
thing is like
all day.
Man, Corona don't catch me. The food in the kitchen really.
Yes.
I love to cook, so I mean, all I do is I cook, not babysit, but watch my kids, and then I go work out. But it's the seesaw is on level, man. I can't be cooking 3-4 meals a day and only working out once. It's just.
I was having a conversation with another gentleman, another episode, and he was like, we walk like 5 to 6 miles a day. Like, this is the most sedentary we really, really are. And LaShawn, you know, I'm kind of interested because in your instance, like your sleep schedule is so different now, I bet.
It is, but I'm really trying to, I walk every morning. I'm trying to, you know, I'm in Nashville. I've got a nice backyard. I am trying to spend as much time as I can outside, get a little sun, not tanning, just vitamin D. And I'm reaching out to a lot of my friends because it's amazing. I just called a guitar player yesterday out in LA, and I'm like, hey, you know, just checking on you, seeing you're okay. And he's like, man, nobody's called. Like everybody's in this thing of isolation, but they feel because they're isolated that they can't reach out. I don't know if that's for everybody, but
Yeah.
I'm just reaching out to a lot of people that I tour with and just be like, I'm thinking of you. It doesn't have to be a long conversation, but you know, and they're just like, I really appreciate that because I haven't heard from anybody. And the people are getting depressed.
Yeah, I'll be really honest. I mean, there's some people like I frequently reach out to and catch up with and whatsoever. But honestly, maybe a week and a half ago, I mean, I'm sensitive in a lot of ways, and I'm not super cryy. But I really busted out crying because a VIP rep just happened to call, and she used to be an assistant of mine for years, and she just called out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, you know, you're one of my favorite people. I realized I hadn't checked on you." And then it kind of dawned on me, barring like, you know, my everyday conversations, I realized no one had asked how I'd been doing, but I had realized like, I'm bothering everybody a lot with how they're doing. This is the proof. You know what I mean? So it was weird that I got really overwhelmed about it. I don't think I realized how isolated I was until it kind of hit me. And then maybe some time before that, like out of the blue, I was like, oh, let me check on Shelby. It was like, oh, what's up with Shelby?
You were the first person to call. That meant the world to me.
Oh, I didn't know. You're welcome. Yeah, because I was like, she's a new friend, and let's see what's going on. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I appreciate, you know, LaShawn, that you came, because I thought about you. I was like, I don't want to keep bugging everybody privately, but I do at least want to let everyone know they're in my thoughts. Because quite frankly, I spend most of my year with you all. Than a lot of other people in a lot of different ways. I may post something, you know, somebody will comment. I might, you know, text you something, or, you know, whatever it is. So, you know, I think it matters to.
In my experience, for a gig day for me, I'm sleeping during the day. So when I go to the bus at night, we start driving, I get the one-on-one time with everybody.
Yes, you do.
You know, I got the singer up there, you know, smoking and talking. I got, you know, whoever it is, I get the one-on-one time. So, you know, you build relationships that way. I don't get to see them all day in catering, but I get to see them at night when they're relaxed and they're, you know, just wanting to just look down the road and chill before they go to bed.
Yeah. On the tour we were on together, I wasn't on her bus, but I would go to her bus to sit in the jump seat to catch up with her because I couldn't see her all day before my aunt would be like, all right, bus call, get off the bus, go to your bus. So, yeah, what were you going to say, Cheney?
No, I was saying I'm probably the oldest in this group, so all my kids are grown. You know, I have a married daughter and then another son and a daughter, but on the weekends, usually on Saturday, we have this same kind of a Zoom situation we've been doing. We've never done anything like that, and now we've added the cousins and everything else. So that's our Saturday thing, and we bought some game packages, so we're all playing these games online. But the whole purpose for that, for me, is just to, you know, look in my kids' space.
Yeah,
I can tell how they're doing. They don't have to talk. I look at them. So that's one thing we've been doing. And then my better half, she just does the same thing with all her aunts and uncles. Without this pandemic, we probably never would have done that. Like never, ever would have done that.
Yeah,
so we've like, it's been working for us. I mean, that's one thing that you know keeps me motivated. And on the weekend, I get to see everybody again. I don't see my family on the weekends. I'm working on the weekend.
Right.
When do I have a weekend to somebody has to die or maybe get married or something before I can take a weekend off and participate in a family thing. So
yeah, it's been an interesting dynamic. I'm very fortunate to have, you know, my biological parents and also the man that raised me. And my dad was a drummer my whole life. So I have a parent who was an artist for a very long time, and I have an aunt who still is in the field working for JH Audio, but stopped touring after years of doing it. So this was a really interesting space to be in with family, Cheney, because at least in the sake of like, once the news kind of hit, you know, my dad is like very artist-like. So what's the deal? What's going on? How you, yeah, it's bad. All right. You know, and then just was really realistic on some, just like he understood it from being an artist, and it's his child. And then, my aunt is more like, I'm calling my aunt like, Cherry. She's like, I mean, you know what I mean? And this is someone who's been in the industry much longer than me. And I'm looking for something. And she's like, I can only tell you but so much. I mean, I have my experiences and this is different. This is a different thing. So for me, my friends and family have been great because I have some that have an understanding a bit. So they're a lot more kind about not poking the bear with certain things. You know what I mean? Not because I'm reactive, but because you don't know where everyone is each day. You know what I mean? They keep popping up another article. It might make you angry or it might make you scared. So, I think it's been going interesting for everybody. But more importantly, I'm just glad that everybody has a smile on their face and everybody is safe and washing their hands and getting it together while we're all here and taking care of each other. You know what I mean? That's really, really important. This one is actually so special to me. Some of you are like some of the dearest people to me. So, okay, so before I let you guys go, do you guys have any questions for each other before I play a little game with you guys? I won't take much more.
Question. For my audio people, was anybody else frustrated during all those live streams with terrible sound and delays and
It just locks in our price in the future. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Those video chats kill me, and half of the shit is either said it wrong or it's all pre-recorded and they press play and they put their face on there to make the audience feel better.
I look, shout out to the audio camp. You guys sound great. Thank you. No baby face, no teddies. Thank you guys. All right, so I got a little game. Before all of this, I used to have a podcast that I had over the years on SoundCloud, The Ash Alexander Show. And as time goes by, I'm going to take those old episodes that are like an hour long or something and put them on YouTube. And I had a game that I would play at the end. So as time has gone by, the people I interview, they put all different kinds of questions. I'm a big Inside the Actor Studio fan. Shout out to James Lipton. I will miss you forever. So they're broken down by color. They're not really specific like to a category. I'm going to try to get through as many. There's a lot of you here. But pick a color, you guys. Green, orange, yellow, pink. Okay. Jon Stewart or Stephen Colbert?
Jon Stewart.
Stephen Colbert.
I was going to say Colbert.
Yeah, probably say Colbert.
Colbert.
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart.
Too relevant now. Has to be Colbert.
If you could record an album anywhere in the world, where would you?
Abbey Road.
Shangri-La.
Shangri-La.
Johannesburg.
Where?
He said Miami.
Miami.
Okay.
It's probably going to be my living room, but
Greatest influence musically.
That's hard.
Greatest influence musically.
That's a hard one.
It just depends on what mood I'm in.
Mine is
Quincy
Parliament
Jones?
Funkadelic.
Quincy Jones.
I'd have to go. I'd go Quincy Jones too. Yeah.
Man,
Good one.
that's a musical dude, man.
Growing up, Quincy was switched up as I got older, but definitely Quincy. Went to Berkeley, played trumpet as well, so I was super hyped on Quincy. I had to throw the Berkeley thing in there at some point. I was waiting on the day after y'all started talking Full Sail.
Listen. I am teetering on doing music supervision stuff there. I am not, I'm not picky with it.
I almost went to Full Sail. That was definitely my second choice, but I'm from.
I almost did too. So it's two almost in here. It's totally fine. I almost went.
You guys are always welcome.
They're way ahead of the game though. They got Digicos down there, and they do a lot of live stuff too.
We got a great campus. It's a great time.
I saw it.
Okay. Favorite album cover?
Cool. Space Coast Supreme Clientele.
Woo! Came off hot.
Green Lips has some good ones.
I can't think of the last time I seen an album cover.
Right.
There could be some movies that are probably better than the old ones, but I don't know because I ain't looked at them.
I am a big fan of Funkadelic's Maggot Brain and Cosmic Slop.
Wow.
Big faves.
I'd probably say Power Slave, Iron Maiden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all that Egyptian hieroglyphics and stuff in there, because I bought that when it came out, so that I was in high school when that came out.
Right.
Oh wait, Ashley, Diplomatic Immunity. Got to do that one too.
Fair enough. Oh, the dude! The dude. Last but not least, everybody please give one encouraging or uplifting statement you want others to know and you want your other tour people to hear. Mine is everyone is important, and please do not forget that.
I would say just take each day one day at a time.
I'm gonna go running, then I'm coming inside to make brownies. Just being honest.
Fair enough. I appreciate you.
I would say that try to learn something new every day, and also try to pass something on to someone else.
The definition of love is everlasting impression, happiness, and compassion. Love everybody.
I'd say just laugh. Try to laugh everything off because we're in a tough situation.
Yeah, I'd say like life is full of seasons, and this too shall pass.
Okay.
I'd probably say I have to say a text is nice, but a phone call is better. So give a phone call to people you haven't spoken to in a while.
That's awesome.
The text message is dry.
Right?
No emotion at all.
No emotion.
Baby.
Yo, you good? Cool.
You can read that. You can read that so many ways. Like, yo, you messed up. You good? Or no, I'm just checking on you today. Like,
Jeremy?
I was gonna say I just heard this the other day. I forgot where, but the best part is nothing lasts forever. The worst part is nothing lasts forever.
Check on your loved ones.
Check on your loved ones.
Because I had two loved ones who actually tested positive, and I didn't even know that they had it.
Oh, I'll keep them in my thoughts.
Yeah. No, they're good now. They're recovered, but
better.
Yeah, my aunt and uncle both were in the hospital about 2 weeks ago. They're out now. They both had it as well.
Oh, good. I'd love to hear people home.
I would say stay positive, stay productive, and keep learning and meditate.
And last but not least, to the queen, Sean.
Yeah, I would just say peace and patience, man. It's hard when you're stuck in a house and you want to lash out. Sometimes you're frustrated. You have these emotions. You have no idea where they're coming from or what they're about. You're just frustrated. Just to have patience with people and just to keep the peace.
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
it. Well, you all stay safe in this quarantine. I will obviously catch up with all of you, and it has been great. Thank you all so much.